Good morning, class. Today we're going to cover types of angles and angle relationships for 1.3. Today's going to be, again, just some definitions and some diagrams, so make sure you're getting the definitions and a couple of diagrams jotted down in your notes. Our first one is a right angle. It's an angle whose measure is 90 degrees. So we've got some examples on the left side here about right angles. Remember that a right angle can be denoted by that little square. And here, when we have two lines that intersect, it actually, if one angle is a right angle, it implies that all four of these are a right angle. So two intersecting lines create four right angles. And the two on the right side here are not right angles. They're less than and greater than 90 degrees. All right, an acute angle is an angle whose measure is less than 90 degrees. So on the left side, we have examples of angles that are acute. Notice the one here looks very close to a right angle, but it's 89 degrees. Okay, and then on the right side here, we have ones that are not acute angles. So they are 90 degrees or greater. Obtuse angle is an angle whose measure is more than 90 degrees. So that even includes such as here, where it's just more than 90 degrees. And then acute or not obtuse angles. A right angle is not an obtuse angle, and anything less than that 90. All right, so now let's talk about angle relationships. We have vertical angles. It's formed by two intersecting lines, so two that cross. They share a common vertex, but not a common side. So these ones here, these are vertical angles. 1 and 2 are vertical angles. So vertical angles are going to be across from each other. And here we have 3 and 4, but also know that they're opposite angles here. These are also vertical angles, and these two here are vertical angles. So these are going to be ones that are across from each other. So AED and CEB are vertical angles, but another set would be DEB and CEA. Those are another set of vertical angles. Not vertical are here on the right side. So ones that don't share a vertex, these ones don't share a common point, or I mean a common side. These two angles here don't share a vertex, even though they share a common side. Here they do share a vertex, but they are next to each other, and we're actually going to talk about that on the next slide, which is a linear pair. Linear pairs share a vertex and a common side to form a line. Okay, so linear pairs of angles. So AC or AEC and CEB, that's a linear pair. Okay, linear pairs make a straight line. We have AED and DEB. Those are also a linear pair. Here we have an example of linear pair. Two angles, now because it says pair, pair implies only two. Two angles that share a vertex and a common side. And they make a line. So here we have not a linear pair. They share a common side and a vertex, but they don't come to 180 degrees. This one here is a good example. These two are going to be supplementary, which we're going to talk about here in 2 slides, but because they add up to the 180, but they don't share the vertex and they don't share the common side, so that's what makes them different. All right, complementary. It's a pair of angles whose sum is 90 degrees. They make a corner. Okay, so here in this example, we don't see anything in the picture, but they do tell us right there that the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 is going to add to 90 degrees. Remember we talked about right angles. If we have intersecting lines and this one's a right angle, then this one over here is going to be a right angle. So 3 and 4 are complementary. Notice here these two angles don't add up to 90 degrees, they add up to 92, so that's not a complementary. These two do not add up to 90 degrees. They're a linear pair. They're also going to be supplementary, which we're going to talk about on this slide. Supplementary is a pair of angles whose sum is 180 degrees. They make a straight line. We can have linear pairs that are also supplementary angles. So here we see makes a straight line. This example here it says, tells us 3f plus 4 adds up to 180 degrees. Maybe this one here they say is 40 degrees and this one's 140. So we know that those two would add up to 180. Here in this example, we have 3 angles. They make a straight line. That's not supplementary then because there are 3 of them, not just 2 of them. And then here, this example tells us that their sum is greater than 180. So it's more than that 180, so they're not supplementary. All right, here's your assignment for section 1.3. It's going to ask you to classify some angles, find some missing measures, and we will see you guys later.